Hello, everybody, and good happy Monday. Welcome to this week's edition of the Racing Insiders podcast. I know we had a little hiccup there. Apparently our stream was frozen up, so here we are back again.
It'll probably happen again.
I mean, please don't be so negative. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. We're outside. It's not as easy to control that environment as it is inside. All the equipment is connected up and it's ready to go. So, I can't always help things like noises in the background when we're outside. I can't control this outside environment. So here we are. So, here we go. Scott's here. Says hi from sometimes sunny California. It's been sunny here and warm, and we're like 80 something degrees today, right?
So far.
So that's cool. I can do that. I'll bet you're a lot happier.
What?
Your work is a lot more subject to the elements than mine, because I have like air conditioning and heat at my office.
Oh, yeah.
So if it's cold, you're cold. If it's hot, you're hot.
Yeah.
But you've got to be happier right now.
Yeah, right now, because it's spring.
Hopefully we don't lose too much light too quickly. I can see it's getting dim out here. Any questions you guys have, feel free to drop them in. If you're new to the show, we answer tech questions and talk about current events on this show, and happy to answer any of those things for you guys. So how's your week been, Steve?
It's Monday.
Yeah, but it's been a week since the last show. So how's the week been since then?
It was a week. I mean, you ask that every week and it's still the same answer. It was a week.
Okay. Well, I have to say that I am very excited because of what you texted me today.
Oh, yeah.
Elon Musk taking over Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been watching that, and you happened to hear the news before I did.
Yep.
And free speech is something that's so near and dear to me. So near and dear that I haven't really been on social media for about 2 years. It doesn't seem like it because I show up on this show and, it seems like we produce a lot of content, which we do, but I'm not really me personally, I'm not really scrolling social feeds very much because, and I don't personally post a lot of stuff on my own channels because of who knows what could offend somebody anymore. And then my account gets taken down, and then it affects all of my business accounts, and just can't afford to do it. So I'm just fine. I'll just opt out. So if I can't post, then it makes it so that I don't really want to scroll either.
Right.
All right. So we got Jeremy's here. He says, "Hey, Steve, thanks for all the answers last week over the phone. Our first race on this field was seamless thanks to you."
Good deal. Glad to hear it.
That's great. I see Danny is here from LaGrange, Georgia. So welcome. And Jim is here. He says, "Hey, you need more beer. Cheer up, buddy. It's not that bad." Yeah, it's not that bad. And Cameron's here. He says, "Hi, Kate and Steve. Hope you had a great weekend." We did. Actually saw your son racing on Saturday night for the first time.
For the first time this year. So run third. Qualified third, ran third. So pretty decent improvement over last year. So
yeah, absolutely. And I thought everybody raced pretty clean in that race. A lot of times those early races of the season, it's, people tripping over each other to try to win at the checkered flag on the first lap. So, you end up with quite a few wrecks on the first lap. So I was really glad to see. I mean, everybody really kind of held it together.
Yep.
So that was good. And Terry's here from Princeton, West Virginia. So welcome. And again, any questions you guys have, feel free to drop them in the comments. Something else I ask you on
or don't. We can leave early.
Well, do you want to leave early? I mean, what is it you would rather be doing? What would you rather be doing than being here right now?
I don't know.
With all of these fine people.
I probably should be working, but I'm not going to because I'm doing the show. So,
right.
There you go.
Like you'd be working at 7 p.m.
Yeah. Oh, it happens.
Yeah, not a lot though. Not on a Monday.
Well, not on a Monday, no.
No.
Because I'm about fed up by the time I leave Monday.
Yeah. Has your phone been ringing all day?
Wasn't too bad.
Speaking of that stuff, of course, something we definitely do kind of report on here is our personal experiences with living in the year of 2022 and supply shortages and everything else. one thing I ran across an interesting article, has absolutely nothing to do with racing, but has everything to do with supply chain. And apparently that you've got the big trucking companies that have these contracts, but that there's these spot contracts, like all these filler in type thing. Well, of course, rising fuel prices, but also there's just less of that going on.
Yeah.
So fewer trucks are being hired for those spot deliveries. So maybe we're seeing a little bit easing up. I mean, they were, of course, painting it as like, okay, this is one of those signs of the apocalypse or recession, whatever you want to call it. But
same difference.
Yeah, it pretty much is. So the recession apocalypse. But anyway, it was like an interesting side note. Is that so much of where we've been slowed down has been in the shipping aspect of it, not just raw materials, but shipping. And so to hear that there's a little bit of easing up on that is, I mean, it's good and bad. I don't want, I just want things to be running smoothly. So anybody else ever wants to chime in on what's going on with your experiences with the supply chain? It's one of those topics that I am incredibly interested in all the time. So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I don't see shit running smoothly for another 2.5 years. So
yeah. Well, it is possible that we start seeing in 2 years, because then that's when people start shaping up, is 6 months before the election.
Anticipation of what's going to happen.
Right. So trying to actually make people feel like you're giving into any of the promises that they made.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I get to work today, and there are 2 political signs in the yard.
Oh, really?
Yes.
For who?
Madison Cawthorn.
Oh, fuck that dude.
I know.
He's a douche.
And somebody else. And anybody. So we live in North Carolina, and the district we're in used to be Mark Meadows district, just for reference. And with the redistricting that happened this year, Madison Cawthorn, who is our representative, this district was split, because here anybody with an R behind their name is going to win. And rather than running in the district in which he lives, he went ahead and ran in our district. So I'm not voting for him, and I'm pretty pissed off that there's a Madison Cawthorn sign in the yard. Yeah. So I'll probably take it down.
I would definitely take it down.
Yes. Okay.
Especially when they didn't ask your permission to put the fucking.
Well, you know how I feel about that. Yeah. I here I am talking about politics, but.
So who was the other sign?
I don't even remember. Somebody else I don't know.
Some rando, like,
I don't know, clerk of court or secretary of a something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but they're right on the line. And the only reason I know it's a line is because our site is mowed, and the dollar store next door, theirs isn't. I mean, or ours was mowed most recently.
Right.
And so that's where the line is. And
right. Yeah. I'd take that shit down tomorrow.
Yeah, I will. I saw it this morning. I was irritated, but then I went to work, and then I didn't think about it until I was leaving. So yeah, bad deal. All right. Here's a question for you, Steve. Cameron says, honest question, Super Bowl or regular carb? Have seen some issues with the Super Bowl.
I mean, I've always been happy with the Super Bowl. I mean, I think if you got certainly if you're running an open engine combination super late model, limited late model, something like that, I think it's an absolute must. I certainly would not race one without it. Crate stuff, I haven't seen it be 100% necessity, but I have seen it be a big advantage on like really rough racetracks.
Good call. And now Patrick says he's looking at swapping to E85 on my 604. What would be the best choice of carburetor for the money?
Honestly, I'm always going to refer to, the one my brother's builds. But other than that, David Smith, Stealth, Willys. I mean, there's plenty of good ones out there on the market. It just depends on what's in your budget range. And honestly, prices of carburetors are fixing to go through the roof. So it's better to buy sooner than later.
Yeah, you don't want to wait. Price of aluminum, it pretty much looks like
it's
if anybody's seen that chart, it is it's a steep curve.
Yeah, I was saying last week when the billet aluminum that a lot of us buy our center sections from, that company, when their billet aluminum went from $4 a pound to $14 a pound, shit's fixing to get really ugly. Yeah. Really quick.
Oh, I have to give a shout out here. So today I am wearing a shirt from Crazy Dave, the number 27. Crazy Dave sent us shirts. And so thank you, Crazy Dave, for my little wardrobe addition here.
Mine didn't fit. Your other one didn't fit. So you got mine.
Yeah. That's pretty much how that worked out. So it all works. And a little thank you, for being on the show here. And next up, Tim says, hey, and Craig is adding to the supply chain conversation. He says, I own a swimming pool business. It is awful. It is just awful trying to get supplies, pools, spas, and chlorine tabs.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be every industry. It's not just one particular industry.
No, and I think it's a multitude of reasons. Some of it is because the stuff's coming in from overseas, and some of it is that we lack the raw materials because of the enormous amount of demand that's happened in different places. And Cameron's running a 604, a crate 604, asking about.
I mean, I'm just taking a wild guess here, but I'm assuming that chlorine tabs are not being produced in the United States; they're being produced outside the United States because who wants a big old chlorine plant that all of a sudden blows up and kills a bunch of people? So.
Well, I mean,
India sounds like a good place to have it. China sounds like a good place to have it because they're willing to kill a bunch of people over chlorine.
Well, but I'm also curious too. I got a couple of gallons of bleach in the house, and what is bleach but chlorine? Right. So it makes me curious if it'd be interesting to know. I would think that would be produced in the United States. I mean, obviously, I don't know. It's interesting. And and Tom is here from California. He says, "Hey guys, looks like Alex had a good run this weekend. So your son
certainly
Alex
did,
yeah. So that was good. I mean, I like to see him out there having fun and especially just surviving the first race of the year. I think that's the toughest thing.
Yeah, he did a good job. Learned a few things. I think he learned a few things driving wise. So that always, anytime you can improve driving wise, it's going to help the car too. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you can see it out there on the track. So that's pretty cool. Actually on that chlorine thing, Craig says the main plant burned in Louisiana.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, so many of these factories burning down that we just can't afford to lose.
Well, look at all the food processing plants that have been, hit by airplanes and random shit like that here recently.
Crazy, or doing in a fire. Well, something that we've had to deal with here in the racing industry was that plastics plant that I think it burned the ground during it. Well, I know when it happened, which was that big Texas ice storm.
Right.
And I think it burned. And then that's what drove the plastic prices up so far for so long time. So yeah. It's a great way to get all of this interesting news out here. Okay. David's got a comment here. I haven't read any of this. He says, discussion topic with the problems getting anything crate from GM, and then talking things getting worse before better, and the price of national competitive crate motors going to 15,000 plus, so the builder can get 3 to 4 sets of heads to find 2 that flow good enough to be a national motor. Where do you see all the crate stuff going?
I honestly don't know who's getting 3 to 4 sets of heads to get to build an engine. If they are, they're a fucking idiot. Because all these heads flow within a certain range, and if they're doing that, they're either number one lying to their customer out their ass and charging more money than what they should be, or number two, they're just fucking stupid. Point blank. I mean, that's just how it is. As far as engines, I see a relief in that coming pretty soon. I had one supplier that got 2 in the other day. I got another supplier that's called me today and said he'll be getting more in. Another supplier saying he'll be getting essentially a truckload. So I see that as being a relieved deal. As far as $15,000, if somebody's paying that for just the engine only, they're a fucking moron. And the price of the engines have gone up from GM, not our fault. If a guy still wants us to go through one, you're basically looking somewhere around $9,800 to go through one. And if I'm supplying you the engine. So like I said, $15,000, $16,000 is perfectly within range if you're talking a blueprinted motor out of the box that I'm supplying you with everything to go race other than a race car. Yeah. Engine related.
Carb headers. Yeah. Yeah. But, we've seen this so many times before with the, comments like this, when I would post an engine on Facebook and I would get
you get a lot of people with a lot of bad information, I think, to start
Agreed.
With.
Yeah.
So they're just listening to Joe Blow that just got his new whole complete combination for $15,000 and they think it's a fucking engine. And that's not the case. I mean, if it is, like I said, the guy's a complete total idiot for buying one engine for $15,000.
Yeah.
So I mean, God, I got a bridge to sell that motherfucker.
Well, no, but I think, but
shit.
you know, sometimes it's just like it's a disconnect between what actually comes on the engine. So when we look at a 604 crate, which would be the more expensive of between the 602 and 604,
Correct.
you know, they don't come with a distributor. They don't have a front drive.
They've
They
got
don't
nothing.
have a power, a water pump, a fuel pump.
No.
You need all the lines that go with it. You need a carburetor, air filter base, air filter.
It's
headers.
the whole thing to go race with.
You know, it's not comparing. You got to compare apples to apples
Right.
here. So yeah. And okay. And he says that is what I'm saying. Should have been a little more specific, I guess.
Yeah.
Carb to pan.
Yeah.
With motor.
Yeah. I mean, that's not unusual. That's not an unusual price, and it hasn't been for quite some time. Just due to the fact that everything is going up in price. I mean, gosh, I mean, we charge $1,450 for a billet center section carburetor. I guarantee in the next month or two, they're going to be closer to $2,000. Not our fault.
Yeah.
Not the supplier's fault. It's Brandon's fault because everything's going out of sight and price.
Exactly. It's really insane. I was talking with someone today and said, you know, hey, I try to have the like fair prices. I don't, you know, race to the bottom and I'm not the highest. He said, actually, you've got some really good prices. I'm like, well, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we've got so many price changes that I can barely keep up. So,
well,
you know, and I don't always get notified.
I was talking to somebody the other day and I was telling them that, you know, it used to be once a year for sure, you get price increases of some sort, usually a nominal amount, depending on the product. Twice a year at the most. We're getting them monthly.
Yeah.
Sometimes weekly on some products.
It's crazy. It's very, very difficult to run a business. I mean, I think the worst part is just that we don't spend as much time. We can't spend the time adding value to customers' lives if we're spinning our wheels with, well, you know, 2 cents here and 18 cents there. But if we don't change it, then
if I quote a guy on a whole complete engine combination today for let's say 604 late model, like again, I'm supplying you everything but a race car. If I quote you that today, that quote is probably good for 2 weeks right now because something in that combination is going to go up in price.
Yeah. And nothing's coming back down.
No. And so when I'm doing that, I'm making sure the customer understands that because I ain't going to eat it because I'm in business not to lose money.
Well,
so that's going to be on the customer's end.
Yeah.
But you know, unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Jason asks, who builds a nice aluminum fan shroud? Doesn't Art
might. Art's Radiator. He may. I don't know if he's doing shrouds for specific cars or not. I know Car House makes a really nice one.
Okay, cool. And John asked a question. He says, Steve, what beer would you consider the avgas of beers?
PBR. Old Milwaukee's best. Somewhere in that range.
You can always tell when somebody's been watching the show for a while. Good stuff. You know, it's hard to believe that we've been doing this show for almost 2 years now. Well, no, it's been over 2 years.
Has it? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we started during the lockdown is when we started doing this show. So kind of fun, kind of crazy.
It was our way to not kill each other because we could like vent to other people rather than each other.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing.
Yep.
So what are you drinking today, Steve?
Just Ultra. Basic bitch.
I'm drinking water. Basicer
bitch.
Yeah, you have beer flavored water. I just have water flavored water.
That's right.
Okay.
I know it's cold though, and it's actually pretty warm out right now.
Ooh, Trina's got a comment here. She says private equity firms in the racing parts business aren't helping the consumers either. Interesting. I don't know enough about the operations and how with private equity. So it was interesting because I was looking at doing some stock investing. So it started getting me curious about what racing companies are publicly traded. And it was interesting to see that like Edelbrock, like Edelbrock used to be publicly traded, but then of course it was brought into private equity with the whole comp cams deal. So it's interesting. If you've got more to share on that, Trina, I find that just fascinating, all the financial stuff. On the shrouds, Brian says All-Star used to make shrouds. I think that they might. Not sure.
They may.
Yeah.
Depends on when they're shipment from Chinese or from China
Yeah.
gets here probably.
Alan says it's also hard to get parts from the supplier now. Amen. Amen,
Yeah.
brother. Amen. Yeah. That is the darn truth for sure.
Yeah.
I've taken the step of these things that are hard to get. I'm either trying to order it and putting it on my shelf, or I'm nixing it from the website. Yeah. So we're kind of.
Well, it seems to all start with the supplier of the manufacturer.
Well, the raw materials.
That's what I'm getting.
Exactly, raw materials. I see William is here saying hi. And Brian says, do you think the prices will come back down when materials do, or do you think this is the new normal?
I think it's the new normal. I don't see prices coming down. I mean, just think about it. I mean, very rarely do we have price increases and the price gets lowered. I'm talking once every blue moon I've seen this happen. And I don't see every product that we're currently paying more than what we were 2 months ago coming back down at all. It would really surprise me. It would probably take somebody to come in, or, I don't know, it'd take a manufacturer of some sort severely undercutting another manufacturer for all the prices to start lowering in that certain realm of what's being bought.
I think
GM's prices certainly won't come down. I'll put it that way.
Well, and I think my take on it is that the suppliers that I've talked with, that it's not like nobody's here is trying to gouge anybody.
No, not at all.
They're just trying to not lose money is really what that is.
That's why I just said that. I can make a quote today, but I'm telling the guys, hey, it's going to go up within 2 weeks probably. And I'm not eating it. So it's on the end user, honestly.
Yeah, but I think we have some items that are just absolutely outsized in price right now. I think aluminum being one of them. And I do think that what we'll see is it's so inflated right now. And I don't see that sticking, because at some point when your phone stops ringing because you're too expensive, then that's a problem. I think we also have lower demand. Yeah. I've seen it, because of course I'm on the front line here selling race car parts. And I know our business is, not only is business down compared to 2021, but traffic is down as well. So people aren't even looking, or they're not finding me. Maybe Google doesn't like me anymore. It's hard to say.
Could be because of this show and we say bad words and talk about Brandon.
It could be. It very well could be. But if you're just seeing a very consistent, like if you've got a graph and then you've got, the line from last year and another line just right below it. And we're just not having that. I think some people are frustrated and they're going to opt out of being a racer. I think we're losing quite a few racers. I think we're losing more, and not everybody announces their exit. This isn't like Facebook where I'm so mad, I'm leaving now unless like somebody comes and pays attention to me. People just like, they don't announce it. They just fade. Like, well, it's really expensive. I don't think we'll go racing this weekend. And then before you know it, they're not racing.
What
anymore.
Is recession?
I did look that up last week. It's where inflation is higher than I think unemployment, or the
wages don't increase with inflation.
No.
So like, when everything's costing, when your dollar goes from, if it costs $1 for something and now all of a sudden it costs $1.75 or $2. Gas is a perfect example.
Right.
All of a sudden it doubles in price. But your wages don't double in wage, then everything recedes, meaning you're going to pull back, stop spending money because you're going to be saving it for what you really need.
Well, but obviously we've seen this before, that gas prices do come down.
Well, gas prices is one of those things that will.
Because it's a commodity.
Correct.
I just never saw our business as offering commodities before.
Yeah.
But when we have raw materials that are commodities that are used in the production of our things, I think some things are going to adjust and come back down. I think it just really just depends. I don't think it's going to be across the board. I think it's going to depend. Some stuff gets too expensive. I'll find another solution, and we'll go from there. Alan says that Longhorn makes a nice fan shroud. Okay, cool. And Doug says, with the price increase, are the tracks going to start offering a bigger purse? And when we laughed,
no.
And what a challenge. I mean, we all know that racing costs money to do, but at what point is that just so far outsized that it takes all the fun out of it?
Oh, yeah.
Like you and I have talked about, traveling. We both like to travel. but the pain of just getting to wherever you'd want to go
Right.
is just not been worth even leaving the county.
No.
Which sounds terrible. I sound like a total redneck now, but
It's true though.
But it's fine. You could have fun when you get there, but if it's a nightmare going there and it's a nightmare coming back, it just like ruins the whole experience.
Right.
So I think that's probably what we're facing. Is it worth it to go, 25 laps around the track? Is all of that worth it?
Yeah, I mean, it'll continue to be for a lot of people, but
although the shortages I think are going to be the bigger factor.
Yeah,
for sure. Tell you who's packing them in.
We'll know more by the middle of summer, honestly.
Tell you who's packing them in. I saw a clip on TikTok from Bowman Gray.
Yeah. Well, that place always does though.
Those stands were packed all the way around. And for anybody who's not from this area, Bowman Gray Stadium is an asphalt track in Winston-Salem, and I've actually never been there. So
yeah, people go there to go to a fight to watch a race break out, maybe.
Right.
That's why they go there. So.
Yeah, this is the full-on, drivers fighting in under the flag stand kind of place. But I hear that's fun. And Craig says the recession is going to be about July. I hate to say it, but I truly believe that. Yep. I think you're spot on.
That's why I said middle of summer. We'll see what happens.
I can't call the exact date, but something that is just fascinating to me. I mean, all the financials, all of the financials are very interesting to me. Stock market, Fed rates, all of that. So I've just been watching it. Housing market.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another example. Like those are prices that cannot last.
Nope.
Because I mean, you've got Pintos out there being offered for Mercedes prices.
Right.
And I mean Pintos. There's a lot of trash out there that just is junk.
Well, I think the first thing that's going to crash is going to be the used vehicle market.
Are there any left?
You got a bunch of people that have paid 34% more than the car's worth, and then they're basically buried in it right now. So they got a pile of shit for 24 to 34% more. Can't remember what the actual number was. It was somewhere in that range. And I think that'll be the first thing that's going to get ugly. Houses will come second. So
do you think that people will just stop paying their car payments and get repoed?
I would assume, yeah. Like I said, make a car payment or, feed your family. What are you going to do? Yeah. I mean, especially if you bought a car that you couldn't afford. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. One thing that's interesting is we haven't seen. Think about the places around here, the buy here, pay here places. Yeah. Those are the people who are going to get affected. I agree. Of course, those are technically the people that voted for Brandon, so whatever. But to a point. But at any rate, those are the ones going to get
No, come on.
affected.
Those are the hardcore. I mean, we live in a county where everybody's got like, it's not an outlier to have like Trump flags or bumper stickers. No, not at all. Like I said, yeah. I mean, I don't know that. I think I know I know 2 Biden voters in this county. Yeah, I know a few. Yeah. Well, no, the third one that wanted to, but but didn't. So yeah, that's all I got. That's because his boss paid him to vote for Trump. I know. That's exactly what I was thinking about. And Brian says they had a show called Madhouse around Bowman Gray. It was pretty good. Yep. Yeah. Bad Brad was the announcer on there. Yes, Bad Brad from Velocita. Yeah. I haven't seen that show. I'll have to see if I can find it somewhere on the internet. And James says this bubble will bust. Hold on to your ass when it does. Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, welcome back to 2008. Well, I've been very cautious, but at the same time, I am stocking my shelves as much as I can because if I don't have it, I can't sell it. Right. If it's unavailable. True. So my business strategy is last man standing. So, which means buy the rest of it. And when everybody else runs out, then, you've got some. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a brunette, so I'm used to, not being picked first. No, I'm teasing. There's some joke. Like after what does a brunette say at the end of a night at the bar? Are all the blondes gone? Right. kind of a joke there, but yeah. So try to be prepared as much as we can. Yeah. Got my emergency food. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit concerning. I think we're all, but I love hearing everybody else's perspectives and what their thoughts are and how, and, I want to hear from you and how this is affecting your racing this year. I definitely want to hear some perspectives on how racers are affected by what's going on in the world. Okay, so Trent is here. Oh, Trent from Nebraska. He says, got 2 major driveline components for an IMCA stock car ordered and shipped today from 2 of your exhibitors at the car show this past winter. Shout out to Crate Insider, Dynamic Drivelines, and Hammond Motorsports for trying to keep ahead of the supply chain curve on hard to get racing items.
Nice.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that so much. It was really cool. Trent, he came down, of course, to attend the racing trade show, the Cars Racing Show in January. And then he flew down the next weekend for Race Logic. Yeah, for the Race Logic Chassis School. But, I love seeing that. And that's what we try to do, is bring all of that together. We're going to get started on show preparations here pretty soon. We probably should have already started, but I'm probably get started on that in June and get our exhibitors all signed up.
Well, part of the problem we're running into right now is, as soon as I hear, hey, we're going to have a shortage on 604 gasket sets, for instance, which has been a thing. I'm buying them from everywhere I can possibly buy them. So now I got like an ass load of them came in today, that kind of thing. Hey, we're going to be short on rings for 602s and 604s again, which that's happened already. And that put a big kink in the works for everybody last year. And so now I've got like 20 sets of each on the shelf. So I'm like overbuying to be able to still produce.
Well, it's the straight up toilet paper concept that we had in 2020, that there's going to be a toilet paper shortage. So what does everybody do?
Yeah.
They go out and buy 2 to 3 times as much as they would have normally bought.
Same with spark plugs. I got like a freaking buttload ass ton of freaking spark plugs right now because you hear, oh yeah, they're not going to make them anymore. They're going to be shorted. There's going to be another shortage and just crazy shit. So I'm like, that's the only thing still driving the economy is everybody's scared to death that they're not going to be able to get a hold of something. So they're overbuying shit. Yeah. While they can get it.
And stocking up. I mean, but
if that wasn't the case, then, everything would be dead right now.
Well, but if I hadn't, I mean, the thing is, I tried to stock up. I've been starting to stock up since June of 2020. Mm-hmm. That was when I was like, yeah, this is not a pause button. This is going to be a problem. And that's when I started really ramping up into the inventory. Yep. But it's not like that inventory lasted for 2 years. No, it doesn't. and I just would have to move my curve to buy sooner than I would before. Okay. Oh, Debbie is here from Newsom. So we were just talking about, well, you didn't actually mention, but of course, Newsom Raceway Parts is one of our suppliers for sure. All of our RGM stuff. Debbie gets to write my invoices and charge my card for.
And they just got 2 604s in, which I already referred 2 people to come buy them, but don't know if they have yet or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, because I have one on order right now.
Right.
I've had it on order for. I mean, so they don't have an overstock of them.
You better take that up with Demi.
Or Tim.
Or Tim.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Tim would have been the one that took the order.
Yeah. All right. James has a question. He says, Steve was told by TechMan I could use CHP, but not E85. Question is, how much is it to gain swapping? How much is to be gained from swapping from a Collie 600 on 93 pump gas to CHP and a 650 HP?
It's always a ton of torque. So I don't care whether it's a 602 or a 604. You're probably between pump gas and CHP. You're probably looking at, again, this is between the 2 engines. So you're looking at anywhere between probably 20 to 30, 35 foot-pounds worth of torque on the bottom end. Top end horsepower wise, on average, you'll see about 10 more on either application.
Great. Oh, and Debbie says, yeah, it's a smart thing to do right now. Maybe on whatever you order is maybe going to be on back order next week.
Exactly.
And she's working on it.
It's just stupid. And the bad, again, it's not the supplier's fault. It's
no.
And it's probably not the manufacturer's fault. It's the damn, the supplier of the manufacturer, or the supplier of the manufacturer's fault. And it's probably not even their fault because they just can't get the shit or produce it.
Well, there's so many links in that chain.
It's unreal.
When we talk about a supply chain, and like last year, when you guys couldn't get rings, or maybe it was the year before, there was a piece that was made in Italy, and Italy was still in lockdown, or that was maybe when the lockdowns.
Well, no, what ended up happening is the ring manufacturers over here could not get material. So the rings are actually produced here.
Okay.
So they could not get material. So GM actually ended up going to Europe and buying the material, which is why the ring prices went up, because more expensive material. So rings automatically go up in price. But that's the only way they were able to produce rings, because they got the raw material from Europe rather than, I don't know, Mexico or China or wherever the hell else they were getting it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Craig says, and just a shout out to you, Kate. I have gotten 4 sets of 602 valve springs. Never ever an issue. They were $99 last time I needed a set. Yeah, I can't remember if that's what they are right now, but I don't think they are. I think I might have gone up on price, but thank you so much for the shout out. We're not trying to gouge anybody. And Debbie adds on, let's go Brandon. We are big Let's Go Brandon fans here.
Yeah, there lies the problem.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, it's if we don't have hope. Well, but now we do have hope. I think this is with Elon Musk buying Twitter. I think it is the start of a new tide. I think the tide is going to turn, or at least it's a big turning point as far as I'm concerned.
Just before the show here, me and our friend Ryan were texting back and forth with each other, and he started researching a little bit of this. And like China owns part of Tesla, and then apparently the bank that ended up going in with Musk to buy Twitter, China owns part of that. So we'll see. He's like Ryan's a little bit pessimistic.
So Ryan's always pessimistic. And he thinks China owns everything.
So he's thinking not conspiracy theory. He's thinking like, Trojan horse kind of thing. But like I told him, I'm like, it cannot be any worse than the liberal, soundboard bubble that Twitter is currently, because all they do is just bounce the same shit back and forth between each other and agree on it. So.
I agree. But like, you can remember back to the 80s and where we were afraid that Japan owned everything because Japan was booming back then, and Japan owned most of Hawaii.
Yeah.
Well, the truth is China owns more of our currency than about anybody else. Right. Because it is our currency is what backstops their currency. So you could actually say that China is a big investor or a big owner of America. So
yeah.
So I only take it so far.
I'm more concerned with Bill Gates owning most of the farmland in the United States right now.
Oh my God! Did you see that controversy last week with Bill Gates,
where Elon was like trashing him?
Well, you know why he trashed him?
Mm-mm.
Because Bill Gates, after earnings came out with Tesla, which they absolutely beat numbers, Bill Gates was shorting the stock.
Oh shit!
And if he's shorting it, that's going to put in downward pressure and
trying
to lower the price. Kind of a Elon's all like kind of dick move.
I like how he showed a picture of Bill Gates and then the pregnant man emoji.
I saw that. Like Bill Gates in a blue shirt, and it looks just like there's a pregnant man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Trina's got some great comments here. She says, I spent a lot of time keeping track of the companies that basically started out of a garage and kept it in the family. Oh, thank you, because I'm very interested in that. I just won't buy anything manufactured from private equity. I support Brodex, Allpro, Iski, Ross Pistons, Cometic, Dyers, and so on, just like many brands that you sell on your website. I'd rather make the companies that work hard to stay in it on their own. It just seems like when the companies get bought out and managed by people who can care less, the quality goes down. And that's all.
And we have seen that firsthand.
Well, yeah, because they're just not as there's no investment in the company. There's no blood, sweat, or tears.
No,
it's hard when you just buy the thing.
No, there's an oil manufacturer that I had a really good relationship with, oil and fuel manufacturer, and they got bought out by a company that just never had anything to do with either product. Mm-hmm. And as soon as they got bought out, prices went through the roof. Shit. Anyways,
yeah,
I won't go there. I don't want to name names, but yeah, I went to shit.
Yeah. And it's a challenge. I mean, when you've got a business and if you don't have anybody in the family that can take it over, what do you do?
Exactly.
It's and it gets so big. Yep. And, but I've found that even just hiring employees, I mean, employees will never know what it was like where I was up till 3:00 in the morning every night, scraping away, learning how to do website stuff and getting back up at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and answering the phone and just trying to, every bit of like my soul that I left on the table for those years. And I know that, but it'll be hard to ever communicate that to anybody else. And,
Well,
and you know the hard times you've been through as well.
It's the same thing with our family business. I mean, shit. Parents started in 1976, and I went to work for my dad when I was 12, full time. The day I graduated high school at 17, or day after, and been in it ever since. So yeah, I mean, but you can't, you can't like that can't be passed along to anybody. I mean, it can. I mean, like my son, stuff like that. But the struggles that you go through to get to where you are today, for instance, I mean that can't be expressed. So if I ever decided, or it wouldn't be just me, it would be my mom, my brother, and myself. But if we ever decided to, hey, we're going to sell the business, odds are somebody's going to come in and just trash the place, honestly, and the name and everything else. So
yeah, it makes it tough when you're so tied to it.
Yeah, nobody's got any, what do you call it, heart invested in it.
Well,
they're looking at it from a pure financial standpoint rather than a heart and soul standpoint.
Well, and my business would be far more commodity like,
right.
Less tied to a brand. I could train somebody to do that, be a little bit different. So but it's an interesting conversation. And one thing I'm really grateful for, and I've said it for a long time, is how many of the companies that we deal with are American companies with American made, American manufacturing, for the actual parts.
That's one of the things that we try to do. I mean, there are products on there that you have to sell that are not, but
you are not going to buy an electronic,
no,
period, in this country, no matter what application, without it coming from China.
Correct.
Or overseas somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just not made here, or at least the components.
And there could be components of other products too.
But. Right. Sometimes you have to make a decision, and just works.
I remember back in the day, we had our auto parts store in Santa Cruz, California.
Oh, I know this story.
And so we sold, performance. It was actually a speed shop, so we sold performance auto parts. I mean, not just go down and get a starter for your Kia. I'm talking like Holley carburetors and MSD shit, and I mean, you name it, we sold it. It was all high performance stuff, Hedman headers, the whole 9 yards. And so Dad had like a whole wall full of air cleaners, and a lot of it was Moroso stuff. And right in the box, man, it's like giant made in the USA shit. And this dude comes in one day, I'll never forget this. Guy comes in, he's like, yeah, I want to buy an air cleaner, but it has to be made in the USA. I'm not buying no damn Chinese or Taiwanese shit. Dad's like, well, right there, that's exactly what you need. Guy gets it, buys it. About an hour later, he comes back. He's like, this piece of shit's made in Taiwan. Dad's like, bullshit. Opens the box up, pulls the damn air cleaner out, or pulls the air cleaner housing out, and right on it's got a made in Taiwan sticker. And Dad's like, what the fuck? He ends up calling Moroso. They're like, yeah, the box is made in the United States.
Wow. You have to watch out for that. It's kind of like, I guess we could call it American washing.
Of course, he refunded the guy's money and was like, I'll
try
to find one, but he couldn't damn find one.
Well, there's something, I came from, the sustainable green building industry. And I know that you always love that part, but there's something called greenwashing where, all of these things that you say about green, that it's just fake, like John Kerry, the climate czar, flying around in a private jet. That's greenwashing,
right.
That. Exactly.
Oh
yeah. Oh, I bought carbon credits. No, oh, wow. The box is made in the United States. I think we should call it like American washing or something. Right. Yeah.
So it's exactly what that was. But anyways, I'll never forget that. And anytime I want something made in the USA, I don't just look at the box. I look at the product. I learned that day.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I remember when I was a kid and a lot of the toys would be like made in Taiwan and interesting. But how that changed over the course of time. Whoever's the lowest bottom dollar there. Now, Mike says he's switching to CHP was the best move we ever did. Just can't get it from Crate Insider. Yeah, sorry. I know I sold fuel for a little while, but it's big. It's heavy. There's zero margin in it. And people will undercut you every venture. And I run a professional business. So that's why there's enough fuel suppliers out there that I don't need to be upside down in a product. I'm not trying to gouge anybody, but if I don't have profit, I don't have a business.
Right.
So that's why I don't sell CHP anymore.
And neither do I. I mean, I don't sell any fuel. So.
No, but I used to have it in your shop. But you guys have a forklift and all that stuff. So
no, I've got customers where when we order fuel, I'll order fuel for them, and then just pass along a good price to them.
Cool. Maybe give me some fuel jugs next time. I can put some fuel jugs on the shelf. Anyway, totally different subject here. Yeah. Brad says, I just bought a new 602. Is there a build date that the earlier problems have been fixed?
Yeah, I've actually got that at the shop. Gosh, just off the top of my head, anything basically, let's see, this is the 4th month. Anything from essentially end of January. No, I'd say February. February would be safe. I'm just quoting me off the top of my head. Anything from February forward, they fix the oil drain back hole issue, and several of the other issues that had a problem with that engine. 602s, like the most current ones now, they actually come with race bearings in them and stuff like that. So they've essentially fixed most of those issues. We have run into a complete and total rampant rash of problems with rods and pistons to where like the wrist pins are pressed halfway through, and it's a total mess, but we're still taking them all the way apart. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
And I would still recommend, even if you do no machine work to one, even if you just take it apart, check it, or have a guy take it apart, check it. If it checks fine, put it back together as is. I would at least do that, because there's a number of little small issues such as wrist pin issues and stuff like that need to be addressed if you're unfortunate enough to have one of those engines.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if there was just we know there was a turnover in the workforce, because these were assembled in Mexico before.
Correct.
And then bringing them back, it doesn't really matter whether it was moved there or moved here, just you get the new guy who thinks he's doing a good job, but there's a lot of components that go into an engine,
right,
and it'd be hard to look at a diagram on day one.
602s and 604s are production line built engines.
Right.
Like 525s, you got a lot better shot with those, because those are actually hand built. So
okay.
Not production line built.
Right. Makes sense. So good information. Good information there. Mm-hmm. Like you said, to Pippi down here, he's
like stalking around when he can like invade the show. Probably.
Yeah. But we're about ready to wrap it up here, Pippi. So I think we are about ready to wrap it up. And do you have any other thoughts to leave people with for the week?
I do not.
I do not either. Other than, ready for me to do my outro?
I guess.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure if there was any final thoughts. No. No, any other questions? Well, I want to thank you all for.
Wait a minute. No, wait, never mind.
He does this to me all the time. Anything else? Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I want to thank you all for.
Wait a minute.
You get to do the outro now.
Yeah.
I'll
let you go now. So I'm ready to go home and, I don't know, watch Netflix. since their stocks crash. People have some good shows on now. At any rate, go ahead.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, for obviously anybody, the joke being that Netflix, the reason they said their subscriber base was down is because people are sharing passwords. And truth is, it's funny. I don't think with like Disney Plus or any of these, I don't think you really have a limit, because I've never gotten kicked off of any other of my streaming services.
I have no idea.
But
that's
Netflix,
not the reason
I have. It's not at all. It really isn't. It's a weak excuse. Just own it that we're just not doing as good of a job, and we spent too much money.
Exactly.
Just own that. Yeah. But all right. Well, we're not on Netflix, but where we are on is on YouTube, on Facebook. Both of those are the Crate Insider channels. Or you can listen to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. I think our podcast viewership has increased since we moved over to Spotify. So that's pretty exciting. And we should be on the Apple, iTunes, Google Play, all of those. Just look up Racing Insiders Podcast. If you're watching the video but want to listen to the podcast, you like to listen to a show like this, or vice versa. If you want to join us live, we are now going for our summer hours, 7 p.m. Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And in the meantime, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for being part of the show, and look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week.